Hello everybody and welcome to Let's Build live from Oak Hill Works. How are we all doing? I hope you are well. I have a horrible feeling I've forgotten something and I have no idea what it is. So that's good. It's not the chatbot. The chatbot's running and it's not closing other things because that's all closed. Maybe we'll find out what it is, maybe it's nothing. And good evening, Paderborn. How are you? I hope you are well. Whatever you've forgotten, it is not the sound. That is good. It's always good when I don't forget the sound. We, of course, have had times in the past where I have done that. Maybe you've forgotten to turn the iron off. No, you're presuming I use it. No matter how much they want to teach about ironing in Welsh. No, I don't need to use one. Even everyone's called Antilly Rail Traction Company Limited. I'm not even going to pretend I said that properly because I didn't. Perfect. I hope everyone else is too. I am indeed, thank you. So, you can probably tell from looking in front of us that we're working on Wagons if you hadn't already read the title. We have one part built and two not yet started. One for George Giles, Hailsham and Heathfield, and one for Perkins of Kemptown. Both clearly ones I need to add to my collection. But that will come in time. These are, of course, Matt's kits, if you hadn't guessed from the messages in chat. Realised and seen the thumbnail earlier. I'm worried about the paint for the 2 bear kits. Don't worry about paint. I've got plenty of paint. As long as you're happy with the colours I keep in stock, obviously. So we've got a black one. But for black, I'm going to use black. Because what else would I use? And we've got one that goes in red, for which I'm going to do red oxide, as is of course the correct colour for a wagon of the era painted red, for which I personally use Humbrol Matte 70, which is their brick red, and does come out looking very nice. Not very, very dark grey. No, red. And I'm not going to use very, very dark grey because it's not being done for me. It's being done for Matt. I have the very, very dark grey as well. But Matt's other wagon he's done for himself is black. So we will go with black. Very nice. Your proof, it looks brown to me. Red oxide is a browny red, Paul. It is the... it gets its name because it's from iron oxide, so it's the colour of rust. Presumably you'll not be using gloss paint given who it's for. I will indeed not be using gloss paint because I don't ever use gloss paint. And these are rub down transfers, so we don't want a gloss backing for them anyway. So what we have to do is we have to start by painting up the wagon bodies, leaving them to dry. Looks completely brown on camera, not red oxide. You've seen my wagons in person though, Linny, so you never pointed out that they looked wrong, so we'll go with that. Gloss or matte. Yes, indeed. I recall the M&LRT's livery was monochrome. Indeed, Ian, indeed. Well, they didn't get remade in colour at some point. But yeah, it's definitely not brown. And the use of that colour was pinched from many discussions about it on RM Web. And it does definitely look not brown. I mean, it is a sort of browny red. So yes, the same. Paint the sides, leave them to dry. Whilst they're drying, we can work on the underframe. We'll start with the underframe for this one. And get the other two underframes done. Once they have dried, we can get the transfers on them, because being rub down transfers, you want to get them on before building so you can lie the sides flat. Because if you're doing it on this and rubbing onto the side here like this, there's a lot of bending going on there and you're going to break something. So that is not how you want to do these under any circumstances. There are also apparently different kits. I can't tell the difference, but they are apparently different kits. So getting them painted up in their respective colours straight away means we can tell them apart. Slater's 4035 and 4044. And it does indeed say on these which is which. I still feel like I've forgotten something. I can't work it out. It's very odd. I don't normally feel like this. So we are starting with this one, which is the 4035 for the George Giles wagon in red. You've forgotten your kitten paint. I mean, now that I'm working in the shop, I suppose I've got no excuse to not pick up kitten paint. And of course, James, what the paint we're after is to make it look like the cat I posted a picture of on Discord earlier. Wow, my watch is loud as I shake. This paint hasn't been used for a while. You are correct, Linny. 4035 is a 6 plank, 4044 is a 5 plank. There we go. I should probably have counted the planks at some point when I was trying to work out what the difference between them was. Oh wow, when I say this paint hasn't been used for a long time, I mean it. This appears to be a new tub, almost. Oh, that adorable Fluffy, that paint is definitely worth waiting for. Yes, we are going to try and copy that adorable Fluffy. The not black one. Yes, this is the not black livery. It's my favourite colour of cat. It's a very nice cat. Linny, the walking encyclopedia, pre-grouping stuff and rolling stock. Indeed, Jade. That's why you're building the body before the chassis. Sorry, probably saying earlier in the video. Okay, Ian, so I am painting them first because they are rub down transfers, so that I can rub the transfers onto the wagon before building them. Because being rub down ones, they'll be rubbed down with the back end of a paintbrush. You see, even though that does not take a lot of pressure for the built up bodies to start to distort, and I don't want to break them, so we're painting the wagon body first so that we can get the transfers on it before having to build it. Proof of wagon earth. If at least one of those in the club, he makes vast quantities of wagon kits, very high standard for all the club layouts. Excellent. I approve of having people good at doing that. This is the wrong brush. I don't want this brush. I can tell because it's an unused brush and is also the wrong size. This is the one we want. This one's so well used that you can't even see what size it is written on it anymore. Not a problem, Ian. Oh well. Wagons. Good evening, Stephen. How are you? I hope you are well. Someone did indeed mention wagons. So we've got a pair of, we've got some POW sides wagons, which are obviously the Slater's kits with rub down transfers. So we are painting up the sides of the wagons first. I should have thought of this and sprayed them with some primer earlier, but I didn't. And I do only have spray, so I'm not doing it now because ventilation. But yeah, so we're getting some paint on these so we can rub the transfers onto them before building them. And there will be no paint spill, even though I have not put blue tack down. I am super confident at setting off Alex's anxiety. That's exactly what I was going to say. Ventilation is important. It is indeed, Paderborn. You are quite right. Yes, so this is to be George Giles of Hailsham and Heathfield, whose wagons were red. So we are going with a Humbrol number 70 for the red oxide. And then we also have Perkins of Kemptown with a black wagon. Being able to breathe is quite nice. You are quite right, Paul. It is quite nice. I forgot the remember kids. Oh, excellent. That should have added hydration, ventilation, and nutrition. Nah, it's only hydration. Mind you, I got wagons I built and painted in my teens and 20s, which I didn't prime, and they've worn perfectly well. Excellent. I am glad to hear that. So I think I stole using Humbrol 70 off a suggestion made on your thread on RM web, actually, Stephen. Saying that. So at least I'm in good company there. There we go, I can word. Only hydration, you're a fish. Ah, but fish don't drink. Shockingly. It's the only one of those things I normally need to bring up on a live stream. So I definitely stole using Humbrol 70 for red oxide off of a thread for wagon building on RM web. And let's be honest, yours is the only wagon building thread that really matters on RM web. Pretty sure it's the only dedicated wagon thread I follow. I think they'd relief. I was about to say, don't get me started on red. Yeah, it can be very contentious, can't it? They eternally drink. No, they don't, though. IU-70 brick red for bauxite as well as red oxide. Yeah, it's quite a good match for bauxite, I suppose, isn't it? Hydration, pardon me, off to cellar. Be right back. Okay, Paderborn. What is this, Fred? I'll take a look after this. More pre-grouping wagons. The D299 appreciation, Fred. It is a very good Fred. Must confess being more of a carriage person than a wagon person, but I've been converted a lot of wagons. Do we engage? Sprat and Winkle Cup. Hints for the club layout. Excellent. I need many, many more wagons. Including some of Stephen's beloved D299s. Should look up Jonathan Williams' Reddit grouping era, but it's much learned about wagon building and painting and weathering. I shall do so. I shall definitely make sure to do so. Wagon assembly line. Well, there will be a wagon assembly line here this evening. So once we've painted this one, we should get the body out the other one and paint that. They can dry whilst we build the underframes up. And then hopefully these will be ready for a second coat and then transfers. Oxford Rail have some new wagons coming out. Banana Van, I believe. Oh, do they? These are things I should know now that I'm working in a model shop, but I don't. I actually have to title my Fred off that. It's a very good Fred, Stephen. It's a very good Fred. Presumably good people in Sussex were taking a banana or two one afternoon and eat them ferried in from GR territory, or would they have come in from Southampton in LSWR vans? They could have done. They could have even come in on the Brighton at Newhaven. It was quite a busy port in those days. Currently shouting Fusion 360, which decided to hide the imported scale drawing for no apparent reason. To annoy you, that's why. Transfers, I approve of transfers. Clark, Sharp and Co. Wagons, good also Rail GR Banana Van June, Q4 2021. Yeah. Oh, I should definitely know these things, what with the new job. Hopefully I shall learn them. Soon I shall be a fountain of all knowledge of new things ready to run. But I've only done 2 days so far, so need to know about and sell all the NSE stock. Yes, I know. Just because I don't like a livery doesn't mean I don't know about it. Clark, Sharp and Co. Wagon does look good. Doesn't look quite so good on the other side where the ampersand has folded over. That is a problem I always find with these POW sides kits. If you don't get varnish on them quite quickly, they have a tendency to get messed up. No, don't push the train over. There we go. Bananas only came in via certain ports. Now believe Avonmouth's first 1902. And then by the Midland and then Manchester starts with LNW and GNR getting in on the ad. Oh, interesting. I did not know that. Have to resist the temptation to discourage customers who have come in for an NSE VEP from buying one and suggesting for Terrier instead. Oh, I would love to suggest that, but the shop currently doesn't have any terriers. So, you know, I need to make a formal complaint to the boss man about that. No terriers, dearie me. Exactly, James. But I probably won't be trying to sell them to other people. I'll probably take them all home myself. They'll all come to Gary's home for abandoned terriers. I mean, terrier and full carriage would fit train set oval far better and look better on sharper curves. Exactly, Linny. And it's not like you can't get the carriages for them these days. Someone somewhere should produce a D1. I agree. Not so good for big loft layout set in the 1990s. Ah, it's fine. Herded terriers, they do move in herds. Well, I have to have them all one day. That is the aim. I've heard of terriers. One could actually have quite a decent terrier-based 1880s layout these days. They could indeed. And with the E1 coming eventually from Model Rail, so they don't seem particularly fussed about getting it out anytime soon, based on the comments made on RM Web by their editor. But with that coming eventually, all we need is some ready-to-run Brighton goods stock, and you could have an entire 19th century Brighton layout with only ready-to-run stock. In fact, you could even get ready-to-run, ready-to-plonk buildings for it, because Bachmann produce all the Sheffield Park buildings. So it would be quite possible to have a Brighton layout using only ready-to-run stuff. Just never heard of the Blue Bell. Good point, Lenny. 5 terriers pulling an express. Why not? I've got more than that. I could do that. Folks, hope you're all good. Hello, Rob. I am very well. How are you? Pack of terriers, surely. Yes, I quite agree, Stephen. It would be a pack. Fair point. In fact, none of you got the Jurassic Park reference. That's me. Shit of terriers. Even good evening, Alexander. How are you? I hope you are well. If you're going to choose a locomotive to have everything of, wouldn't the H2 have been a better choice than the A1? No, definitely not. Got it, just no response to it. Sorry for your absence. Last week was feeling down again. I'm sorry to hear you were feeling down, but please, if you ever feel the need to take the weekend off from viewing, do not feel you need to apologise for missing the stream. I do not expect everyone to be here every week. Albeit one in the outer London, albeit the one set on an outer London suburban line circa 1880 is probably nothing else. That's not true. Terriers worked plenty of places that were not London in the 1880s, such as the Hailsham branch, which was worked by a terrier called Hailsham from the time that terrier was built until 1903 when it was scrapped. Which is not as cooler, and LMY are. No, see, this is why terriers are cooler, because they're not LMY, they're LBSCR. Never seen Jurassic Park? Oh my, you must correct that, James. Gary, I'm good, thanks, chap. Excellent, glad to hear it. An all RTR Brighton layout, where the change been that, you'd have to go off and model North South or some such. I agree, Stephen. I quite agree. Of course, I did start modelling pre-grouping for the challenge. So the fact that all this ready-to-run Brighton stuff has appeared isn't great. Maybe it's the middle of I get some dreadnoughts much cooler than Metropolitan. They sign off early as 2 history exams tomorrow. Oh, fun! I hope you do well in your exams, Alexander. Yes, branch lines. Forgot about branch lines. See, never forget about branch lines and make some really good carriage kits. Tend to be more a fan of main lines, but branch lines are very popular. Indeed they are, and much easier to fit into layout spaces sometimes when you don't have a massive shed to put big layouts in. If I had to make a Terry-based layout, it'd be South London circa 1880s, and I would like to see that layout made, James. I would. Well, you mentioned A1, I thought you meant peppercorn A1s, grizzly A1s, and I remember terriers are A1s. Terriers are indeed A1s. Terriers are the A1s. No other A1s are needed. Lots of stuff not available so far. The challenge is only mildly diminished. Well, yes. And so I did have good fun doing that carriage up last week. I mean, you can't even get kits for balloon carriages. Yes, you can, from branch lines. You forgot about branch lines again, James. Even all good evening, Thomas. How are you? I hope you are well. Too many A1s coming up with the E1s. Get kits, balloons from Roxy and branch lines. I've had a second shed. I'd gladly build the terrier layout. Well, it sounds, James, like we need to get you a second shed. How would your neighbours feel about you annexing their garden? My shed space is spoken for, then get out 9 days layout, the 930 southern layout and the underground layout. Yeah, see, I'm sure you could get rid of some of them layouts and replace them with terriers. Cool to see more RTR pre-grouping stuff being made. It is indeed, just I imagine neighbours would object. Well, they might. There's only one way to find out. Community project, the terrace. Actually never have enough sheds, so you don't agreed, Rob. Did the right decision. It's been exactly a year since one of the worst days of my life. How the devil are you, sir? I am well. It has not been exactly 1 year since one of the worst days in my life, so I shan't be complaining. There's from space to put them. Have you ever considered a multi-storey shed? Because then you don't need a whole new shed. You just need another floor on top of the one you've got. See, that idea makes sense to me. Roxy branch line kits are just the push-pull balloons, aren't they? Not the mainline ones. I thought branch lines had some of the mainline ones. Multi-storey shed needs planning permission unless they're in the middle of a huge garden. Is your council not like mine, where planning permission can be acquired with brown envelopes? Planning permission for absolutely anything you want, with the correct size, correct thickness of brown envelope. Stackable sheds. Exactly, stackable sheds. The multi-storey shed, a Wendy house. Nah. My shed does not require planning permission because it is short. Fair enough. Balloons, nickname for coaching stock. Official name as far as I'm aware. But yes, coaching stock. Service shed extension. Less chance to break in. The LBSR carriage, huge stone roofs. Oh, this is true. Anything over 2.5 metre height close to meet the boundary line. Believe price management. When I looked at their prices, couldn't find the mainline balloons. Believe we discussed it at the time. Fair enough. I will take your word for that, and I don't do bribery. That is the best way to be, James. I also don't do bribery unless it's people bribing me with extremely large amounts of money, which never happens, so I don't do bribery. Right, first, the balloon filled with air, not people. Yeah, fair enough. Unfortunately, the housing developers do bribes. So we have a lot of housing here that the town can't actually support. On land that should never be built on. And in fact, in some cases, is supposed to be protected. Big enough for it. Okay, so what you need then, James, is a multi-storey shed, but in the opposite direction. You need to put a basement on your shed. Oh, I'd like to remind everyone, hydration is important. That's been a free Hayden branch or Proteus. Do you know they're dome coaches in the UK? They were, yeah, they were massive. The balloon coaches. It's cool to learn. I approve of learning. Learning is important. It's what happens when power is exercised by discretion rather than rules. Indeed, James, it is. Can't put a basement under my shed. Sewer main runs underneath my garden. Darn. Garrett Avenue is suggesting politicians are corrupt. Only my local ones. James, I'm learning. Exactly. I'm only suggesting my local council are corrupt, and I have no idea which party the council actually is run by. That's how much attention I pay to the local politics. I really need to find out who's in charge before the local elections. Tag politics. Hello, Alex. I hope I haven't set off your anxiety too much with the lack of blue tack. You know, buy an ex-Cold War bunker. Quite well said, Paul, and good evening, welcome, how are you? I have to dismantle that. I've been building for 2 years so far. Yeah, don't move it then. I suppose. But how do you tell when politicians lying? Their lips move. I'm glad to hear it. There's a YouTube channel somewhere, a chap who has a layout in a storage facility. It does sound like a fantastic idea. Right, so now that those are painted, whilst they dry, we are going to build the underframe for this one. Look, we're upsetting Alex now. Let's stop with all the politics. He is quite right. It is against the rules. So I'm going to stop reading out the political jokes as well. And so yes, this one needs its underframe. Which, being a Slater's kit, will not be hard to do at all. So you have to go to, yes, Eaton Lodge Junction, James. I'm going to attempt to remember that and then completely forget about it. Because I would like to look it up. And I'm curious to know why you haven't gone for the pre-printed version POW size. These are not mine, Stephen. Quite simply, they are provided by Matt, a couple of messages above you. So I am purely building them. There we go. That's the words I was trying to say. I'm going to have to take one of my pins off the pin board because I can't see where I've put my... Oh, there's my thing of pins. Let's grab two actually because I'm about to put this back supporting the box that was on top of it a second ago. I've noticed there's actually a difference between Doncaster. Is there actually a difference between Doncaster and Darlington Green? I've been told there is, I don't know. So in fact, that one, much smaller one by a much younger chap, but that one is very impressive. I'd like to know about that one too with it as well at some point then, James. All I see is getting the layout up and down all those stairs. Yep, fair enough. I don't think these ones are available pre-printed. Well, that answers that question. And if they're not available pre-printed, you can't buy them pre-printed. But I think it's always do some delivery proof. Are links allowed in live streams? I'd link the RMO for a Heaton Lodge. So the awkward thing is, yes, they are allowed, but YouTube won't put them there. You can post away to your heart's content. I have no ban on that. But YouTube won't display it because of YouTube. So we're going to start with the bigger sections of the underframe, namely the floor and the sole bars. Floor I obviously don't need to cut out because it is already here. Going very careful on that last one because that is a much more fragile piece and we don't want to damage it. Storage was almost 301 modernish for London Reserve. YouTube doesn't have them because it doesn't want people leaving YouTube and going to not show a link from mod. Yes, it does show links from mods as seen by Alex posting a link there. I think it's a permissions issue, but it's on YouTube's end because I have them set to be allowed. Wagon Nerd fact about the unframed to those Slater's Gloucester RCW Co wagons. The round bottom grease axle boxes on the side Gloucester were using for late 1880s, mid 1890s. I did not know that. I mean, I probably did because I've read it somewhere, but I didn't retain it. I'm sure we can all guess where I read it. I do enjoy these little bits of information. Is the rest of the underframe accurate for that period? I assume it is. That's looking for layout set between 9 and 9 10. Indeed. Post thing in the Discord about the shades green. Interesting. I shall enjoy reading that at some point. So I'm aware. I've been told there's difference between Darlington and Doncaster green, but do I know it? No. I'll just tidy up all the edges where we have cut it from the sprue. Wagons built in the late 1890s through 1910s had square bottoms out spots with gloss 4S cast iron on the front. These can be got as white metal castings from MGT/Dart castings. Ah, so you can get replacements to chop them off, and if you want different ones. Darlington green is darker and richer. Doncaster is a bit more pale. Fair enough. Look at Alex knowing something, because that's what he does. He just doesn't realise it. Both look exactly the same to me. I'm sure they look quite similar to most people. I certainly don't expect to be going out there looking at LNER logos and being able to know which shade of green they're painted in. I just happen to have the V2s in Train Sim and can see the difference between two colours. That's how we all know things, Alex. Really straightforward to do the swap. Cut the plastic out, the box off, leaving the round hole in the outer guard. Fit your brass bearings in the hole. It's a guide to locating the cast box. Yeah, that makes sense. That does sound rather easy. Very interesting indeed. Thank you for that bit of information. So now we are going to check this all fits, because that is seemingly not going to. No, that's definitely not going to. So we are going to file a small amount off the edges. This is why we always test fit everything. So to go back in time and film stuff around the railways in 4K. Indeed, wouldn't that be spectacular if we could do that? Go and build a time machine, and then you can do that. Doesn't matter how long you spend making the time machine, just come back to now and give it to yourself. Nice, and they are nice sober 29 Cambrian number frame mouldings are otherwise rather crude, especially the springs and brake gear. So, the later axle boxes are on the Cambrian kits, but the rest of the underframe isn't as good. Now you know, everyone. There's a little bit of extra flash on this side that I can see what is stopping it. No, it needs to glaze a little bit more. Let's bring in the bigger file. Flash should be a command. You're right, it should. And it should say, Saviour of the Universe. Because that is obviously the only correct response to that. course, what else would it say? Exactly, James. I'm glad I'm not the only one who thinks so. And there we go. That floor fits very nicely in there now. Slated under frame is good. Brakes on one side only before circa 1907 generally. Interesting. Matt, what period are you doing these for? Because if I'm doing them before 1907, brakes only one side apparently. Hydration is important. Floor should fit between the sides. Ah, that it. Let's see. It does with a bit of teasing. Thank you, Stephen. Okay, this one came to me as a pre-built body. Happy with pre-1907 condition. Okay, excellent. We shall do so then. And now with that in the right place, we can check the fit of the sole bars to make sure they do indeed fit between the buffer beams on there, just like that. And they've got that why not have more brakes? Money. Quite simply, money. I think the one might have bowed inwards, which sounds being a bit tight. It has indeed a little bit. Check that when you fit the sole bar to the floor, the bottom of the sole bar is level with the bottom of the headstock, as you are doing. Indeed, that is what I will be doing. Because brakes were expensive. Exactly. So yes, as Stephen is rightly saying, what we need to do is make sure the floor is in the right place. It's slightly too high up in this corner, so that then the sole bars sit correctly and were only fitted by private owners when it became legally mandated. Yes, and let's face it, a lot of railway companies also skimped on the brakes until it was legally mandated, including on passenger stock. So that is all now. They fit in the right place and they fit in the sides. I am going to get a couple of dabs of glue on this floor before it tries to move. You know what, I still haven't looked where I put down that pin the other day. I should definitely do that at some point. Oh, don't tell me this is the wrong one. This is definitely the wrong one, it's way too long. Where's my backup pin gone? Well, that's not very helpful. We'll snip a bit off the end of this. Royal Commission on Prevention of Accidents, the Railway Employees 1900, which is highly critical. The need for railmen to pass between wagons, put the brakes on. Have you remembered what it was you've forgotten yet? I have not. Resulted in Board of Trade regulations some years later. Of course, they couldn't act on these things quickly. Yes, we'll put a bit of glue onto there. Let's just put some dabs on to hold that in place for now. bit more for that corner, and then we will double check it again and stick it properly when we are actually attaching the sole bars. I do know words, honest. I can't believe you'd accuse me of forgetting words mid-sentence. So we want to get some bearings fitted into these as well. You know, a lot of times something really bad happened, and only then do they start making stuff more safe. That is generally how it happens, Joseph. Yes. And good evening, Red. How are you? I hope you are well. I think you'll find a lot of early wagons had a single brake block on only one side, on one side only. That is quite correct. There were a lot of wagons that had a single block on one side only, and only operable from one side of the wagon. And there's that other one I just dropped. There we go. Around 900 board trade insisted brakes should be operable for both sides to reduce the number of staff injuries and fatalities. I'm fine, thank you, Gary. Glad to hear it, Red. Some companies, including the G&E and LMY, did a cheap fix by fitting a left-handed brake handle on the other side. Well, as I would expect a number of companies to do, because companies are companies, they're all out for profit. They did act quickly after the Armada disaster 1889. The accident happened on 12th of June. The Railway Act mandate mandating automatic brakes for passenger trains received the Royal Assent on the 30th of August. That was very quick then. So we're going to check these fitting these. And they do always test fit. They all fit very well in there, so we will have nice brass axle boxes in there. GR cheated, had two shoe brakes on one side of the wagon with a separate single shoe brake on the other side of the wagon in some cases. I did not know that. See, it's horrible. I'm aware of that accident and, you know, the implications of it, but I always forget where it was. Which is quite annoying when you're trying to tell people about it. Presumably happening in Armagh, Gary. Yes, but I forget that every time, Red. I'm like, it was the, yes. And I forget Armagh. Okay. I thought the big change from that time, I thought the big change from that was time blocking used less section blocking was the new norm. There was There was a vast number of Railway Acts passed about things, generally because of crashes around that era. So now we have bearings in. We have the floor holding all the soul bars at the right position, the right heights. I'm going to check the fit of the axles as well. Because even if you've done something 100 times, never trust that it's right. Always check. Board Trade insisted the brake handle should always be at the right hand side of the wagons, but gave the railway company 20 years to implement, but further delayed by World War One. Look at all these knowledgeable people in my chat today. It's a very knowledgeable chat. So we can see there that those wheels all sit in very nicely once everything is stuck on. So now we're going to stick the soul bars and the floor on properly, get the brakes in, get the wheels in and then get the brakes in. I know what I'm trying to say. If we put the wheels in before we do the brakes, then we can put the brakes in alignment with the wheels and make sure they actually line up. Mandatory interlocking and block working was another requirement in the 1889 Act, which the Railway Inspectorate had been pressing for years, though not relevant to circumstances at Armagh. There we go. Yes, it's very small. Well, okay, Red, I won't include you in that if you want. Hydration is important. So you are very wise not cutting off the V-hanger on the non-brake side until after you've done the brakes. But I will stick the brakes on the wrong side if I do that. Quite simply. I will... And it wouldn't be the first time I'd done that either. Oh dear, that lid is getting too gunked up. So I'm going to put a bit more glue along the floor of the wagon. Just to make sure we've got a very nice hold on that. And then we're going to put some along the bottom. And sides of the soul bar. And also on the inside of the frame in there. How do you ensure all the wheels touching and at the right angle to the track. So, on Slater's Wagons, I've never had a problem with that. However, I am visually, which is not necessarily the best way of doing this, using this alignment from this side of the W iron to the bottom here to make sure it is in the right place. And this is also why I have a glass top to my workbench. This being glass, I know it is completely smooth. So if I put the wheels in and then turn it up the right way, if all four touch this glass, all four will touch the track. That's what I do. Hey, I'm glad I'm not the only one. Yeah, okay, Slater's kits are right by design. Exactly, Stephen. I have never had a problem with Slater's kits underframes lining up. But yeah, putting wheels in and making sure they're flat is why I have a glass worktop. Love sloppy double bonds anyway. Best don't use a fancy workshop like Gary's. Well, you know, Stephen, it is a very fancy workshop now. This is actually a dedicated workshop room rather than being in my living room now. So we really have gone all fancy. I don't think I ever got round to posting the video tour of it to RM Web. Which I really must do. So now I can see that that does not rock, and I am genuinely trying to rock that there, and it doesn't. And it rolls beautifully along the glass. How do you cope with other kits that aren't as well designed and the underframes are rather hit and miss? It depends on the kit, really, if I'm being honest. As I say, like on here, when I'm looking at it, I use the visual references here to make sure I'm putting it in the right place. Most kits will have something visual on them. Otherwise, there is the good old-fashioned ruler if needed. If I could not have buried my decent one, where you can measure from, say, the end of the W iron to the end of the wagon as you're putting it in. Lots and lots of measuring and lots of test fitting is generally a good rule. Used to have a dedicated modelling table, then we got a cat and his degree placed the litter tray was under the table, so now I have to compete for space at the dining room table. Well, so you see, Stephen, as I don't think I posted the video to RM Web. I have obviously the laptop there. I've got the big lights. I've got two of them shining down on me. My board for my instructions. Lots of shelving, which is lit up. There's my other big light. I've got some acoustic foam to work my echoes behind me. and my microphone in front of me. Like, I've even got a name on the wall for Oak Hill Works. And then if we flip round this way, I have my spray booth next to me, although it's not hooked up to any ventilation yet, so I can't actually use it. So, yeah, I have a very nice room for doing all this in now. I am very happy with the setup I made. Oh, and it's fully stocked with an almost complete collection of MRJ. I really did go all out on designing and building this little room. Right, we're going to leave this for a minute. I know we've got the brakes to do still, but these are dry enough for a second coat. And we want to get that on there as soon as possible so that it can dry. Very nice, excellent, sweet set out, Gary. Thank you, everyone. My spray with his cardboard box underneath the extractor fan in my showers. He's doing better than me. Almost complete run of MRJ, you say? Yes, almost complete. I have numbers 0 through 128 complete. And then I'm missing somewhere between 20 or 30 after that, which I just will pick up over time. I used to pick them up. There's a second-hand book trader that does the exhibitions locally who stocks MRJs that he gets off eBay, and I used to just pick them up off him. But obviously it's been a while. Right, so second coat time. Because we want these looking as good as they possibly can. But yeah, you'll be glad to know, Red, that whilst my spray booth looks nice, it is a cardboard box. So it's got that going for your one. So what were you up to in the early noughties? So what were you up to in the early noughties that took your eye off MRJ? So I've actually acquired all of these in the last 5 years or so. I was very lucky in managing to buy a job lot of them off someone at club very cheap. So yeah, it's not that I took my eye off them and was up to other things, although the early noughties I was studying for exams, so I probably would have stopped railway modelling then. Are you going to weather the wagon? I am not. It will be going back to its owner once it is finished. And it will be up to him to weather it how he would like. I would like to offer weathering to people that I'm building stuff for. Unfortunately, I don't feel like my skills are good enough for it. Huge job lot of MRJ on eBay at the moment being sold for charity. There you are, everyone. I think I managed to pick up that first 128 plus I think another, sorry, first 129, because of course I've got issue 0 as well. I managed to pick up with another 20 or so assorted later issues for 50 quid off someone at club. So that was rather a boost to my collection. I spotted MRJ number 1 in WH Smith Oxford 85 and have never missed an issue since. My number 0 is the reprint though. Ah, my number 0 is the original. But as I say, I didn't collect it from then. But it is a very good magazine. I thoroughly enjoy it. Even if I can't quite achieve the standards to be expected of a modeler to feature in MRJ. MRJ one-upmanship, you won't get that elsewhere. No, exactly, Stephen. You know that most wagon toolbars match the wagon body livery. I am indeed. Certainly in this earlier period. I actually have a picture of some George Giles wagons, although very much a different style of wagon to these ones we're building here, because they are dumb buffered ones, which I posted to my Discord earlier for those interested in seeing those. !Discord in the chat will get you a link, otherwise it is oakhillmodelrailway.co.uk/discord. Actually, sold yesterday, issues 0 through 275, box file. I'll sold for £102 for the British Heart Foundation. That's pretty good. That is a very good price indeed. And for a good cause. Generally, wooden soul bars will match the body colour. Indeed. Indeed they would. Ha 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 ha. All the puns. But yes, hopefully these are drying quick enough that we shall get the transfers on them. I've never understood quite why these enamels dry so fast. It's only a select few of my colours that do it. But I've always thought of enamels as paints that take a lot longer to dry. So the fact that there are colours that I can even get a second coat on a live stream surprises me. Speaking of wood, I've like to try doing a varnished wood PO wagon. Oh. Were there such things then, Stephen? I don't recall having seen pictures of varnished wood PO wagons. Treated by this special quick dry enamel. I know, it's good, isn't it? And it is just Humbro enamel. I wouldn't expect it. Can't use enamel paints anymore. Switched to Vallejo and Tamiya and have never looked back. So I generally use Vallejo paints for painting figures. I do find them much better for that. I much prefer enamels personally. I find them more hard wearing. And of course there are certain things I can only get in enamel, such as the Phoenix Precision range. But I did, whilst at the shop on Friday, purchase some Vallejo paint, so I do have acrylics as well. Dry wipe that off my hand. Few and far between. I've done some L&Y pre-1903 wagons in unpainted wood with black ironwork. Oh, interesting. Very interesting indeed. I like the sound of that. As I say, it's not even tacky to touch. And that's painted in enamel that we did, what, an hour ago? It's impressive. Not pre-grouping, but some bully designed 5 paints turned out unpainted after the war. Ah, I didn't know that either. I think Tamiya is my personal favourite to paint rolling stock with and to airbrush with. We do not stock Tamiya at the shop. In fact, that's a lie. We have Tamiya sprays at the shop, and we have a couple of bottles of just Tamiya paint. But generally, it's not something we have. Although I do generally spray with enamels. Not good for colour matching, but for general painting, I stand by Games Workshop Citadel Paints as one of the best around. I have heard lots of good things about them. We have a Games Workshop trade account at the shop. In theory, I could get them in. But there's also a Games Workshop 10-minute walk down the road. So I can't see us really selling much of the Games Workshop range when there is a Games Workshop that close by. But that's just me. Post-World War II is no painting of wooden body open wagons for some years. I did not know that at all. But of course that is slightly out of my period. Just very slightly. Below myself, good paint for general use. Fair enough. I'm glad someone approves of my use of Vallejo acrylics. Tamiya paint seems to glide well with brush. Paint all my LBSCR wagons using Tamiya and love the finish. Excellent. Excellent. BR simply painted black patch with the white lettering and numbering. Yes, I was aware of that. Red wagon, you're doing black ironwork before applying the transfers. The picture doesn't look like it has black ironwork, actually, that I've got of wagons in the George Giles livery. Now, I personally quite like black ironwork, but it does look to me like it was left black. Left red. Citadel's Ryan outside to be perfectly serviceable LSWR SR wagon purple brown. That is always good when you can find paints that go together. Hang on a second, because I can post links, can't I? So if I open Discord, oh my, what's going on in here? So I can go that. Has that posted? Has that posted as a link that you can click on? It's not come up. Yes. So that link should take you to a picture of some dun-buffered wagons in George Giles livery. If anyone wants to dispute the ironwork, but I think that is all the same colour. Hello, Phone Connect test, apologies. Welcome, the wagon looks good. Hello, Flymo Chairman 1. Welcome. I hope your test goes well. And I hope you are well. Silly, yeah, that's red. Yes, not tape usual pre-grouping specification was English or American oak for the underframe and curb rails, end pillars, etc. Signature approved ironwork, bought upon size end plates, so there would be a difference in appearance of side frames on an unpainted or varnished wagons. Interesting. Very interesting indeed. I can't remember whether I finished painting this side. I could see a bit that was still shiny, so I'm painting over the bit that was matte. Because, you know, that's a good sign of where it has and hasn't. Yeah, it worked, indeed. I approve of working tests. Yeah, I just thought of a curse concept to make people mad. Problem with early photographs is that the paint chemicals were not very sensitive and often not very sensitive to red and often shows as black. Indeed. George Charles Wagon 509 models pages paint charcoal grey with black ironwork. Don't say that now. But this was labelled as being red. I am following the instructions I am given. Well, George Charles photos, the camera does not lie, but that period things red and black, as Lily just said. My vote is for black ironwork. Okay, I will go with black ironwork then. Because I want to get this right for Matt. Apologies, I was looking for enough phone I don't usually use. I've been watching your channel for the first time. Hello, thanks for having me in. It is great to have you here and welcome. I hope you are enjoying so far. Account as cyberbullying. I don't think so. Maybe. Shall I tell a teacher? We'll see what they say. Right, so that is second coats on. Welcome to my channel. I'm not recognised from the Monday Club. Ah, that'd be where I recognise the names from as well then. Because of course I do watch Jenny Kirk's Monday Club. I do not join in with the chat there because I am busy in a Skype call. So I actually have it in like muted as well. I just watch the trains go round. Constructive criticism. Yes, I approve of constructive criticism. Constructive criticism helps us all get better at what we're doing. Approve people from the Monday Club joining us. Indeed, yes. As do I, James. To always see what I read of the chat always seems nice, friendly, and banterous, which I do quite enjoy. As I say, not being able to listen in and only really having it on to watch the trains go round as I'm in my Skype call does generally mean I miss a lot of what is said in the chat. Put that away. Constructive criticism is the best type of criticism. Yes, the Monday Club is always friendly. And the bot was just thinking the same thing as me. Remember, kids, hydration is important. And that is that hydration vessel emptied. Oh, come on, let's have you in Monday Club chat. Can get to racing a bit when it first opens. Yeah, I don't think I've ever been there right at the start. Certainly a couple of times I've arrived at, say, 7:30ish and listened in to the first bit before my Skype call starts. But yes, it's always nice to see Jenny's trains running and see the nice friendliness going on in there. If I get a layout, I'm just going to make 10-hour recordings of trains going by. I mean, why not? Why not? So, we are going single-sided brakes. Matt, what coupling system do you use? Are you a tension lock person? Hydration is very important. Ah, my hydration cup is also near empty. Aha. I always approve of a full hydration cup. I approve of them even more if they have a terrier on them. Same train going by, I get a nice procession of different trains. For a 10-hour recording, you'd want different trains, wouldn't you? I've watched Monday Club for some time. I think the last time was when the discussion was about the best model railway live streams, and I mentioned this one. Well, hey, I approve of this one being mentioned. Afraid I'm a NEM person? Don't be afraid of that. It's just, I suddenly realised as I was looking down at this, of course it includes the dummy hooks, doesn't it? Which, if you were like me and put in 3 links on, say I do have a wagon ready, then you would have wanted me to leave those off. So I thought I'd best check before doing anything. Hydration terrier, exactly, James. There's those different trains, maybe a little skit like thing every now and then. That would work, James. It's the way Jenny manages to have them running such slow speed continues to amaze me. Yes, Jenny's trains do always look fantastic going round. The layout must be so well maintained. It certainly runs a lot better than any of mine. And I've got a fair few. I'm up to 7 now. This one and the Monday Club are the only model railway live streams I watch regularly. Friendly and intelligent hosts make for a happy live stream. Well, I'm glad you find me friendly and intelligent. Unless you're saying this isn't a happy live stream, of course, James. The inference just stands square socket which allows you to change different types of couplings, each essential whole beat, arcade hunt, etc. Nem was enough for me to know. On wagons I normally use tension locks. Occasionally put tummy hook on. I'll probably use backman couplings that fit on the included mounts. Makes sense to me. And don't get me wrong, I see why people use tension locks. Personally, I think they are the second best coupling system. I'm sure KD users will not be happy to hear that because, of course, the first is screw links and free links. Okay, maybe Sprat and Winkles and AJs and stuff actually come above tension locks, but let's not get into that. This is a happy live stream. I'm glad to hear it, James. Joe's telling us LOI engines leaving the station and shunting the yard near it. See, it would be great if you could do that and have actual, like, prototypical stuff going on. I will certainly, when I build the new Oak Hill, obviously after the demise of the current one, I will be thinking about places I can mount cameras in it when I am building the scenery and stuff, and making sure it goes all nicely for recordings, because I know there is certainly people out there who want to see trains running on my layouts. Keep building to stop my trains. Indeed, I think that tension's better than KD's. I prefer KD's by a long way. In my experience, tension locks work better on. That's my experiences. I find I've got more reliable usage out of tension locks than I have from KD's. So I'm saying, guys, it's my layout, and you do what you want on yours. Thank you for the nice comments on the Montrack. You are quite right there. It is indeed anyone's layouts to use whatever couplings they so choose, and I would never be one to say don't use those couplings unless it is someone asking for advice and I have genuinely had very bad experiences with them. Speaking of watch trays go around, saw recent railway of the month RM Norwich Central, so I looked it up on YouTube. Beautiful pre-group layout, GR and GR. Yes, someone sent that to me. It's absolutely fantastic, isn't it? So I need automation. Freedom to go here, you have 2020 vision and the patience of a saint. I do not have 2020 vision. I have glasses and a very reliable coupling shunters pole. That's the word. Right, they are a little bit too tight anyway. Getting back to the wagon, and the reason I stopped so I could read the comments. So they need to come out and meet the file. So, just more reliability to have KDs. I find dapple engaged equivalent of KDs very reliable. I've had issues with them on corners mainly. The much big double O gauge version yet, though I have fitted some. Yeah, I've mainly had issues with them on corners, with getting them to couple as well as any other issues. My fear is that you can get away with tension locks on similar on later stock where the underside of the vehicle is already busy, but pre-grouping wagons, which are pretty rare downstairs, they're far too prominent. Well, yes, especially if you and on certain coaching stock as well, Stephen. Just stop wheel through. And PR Mark 1 and then I want to mess with people. See, that's just going to put people off watching if you do stuff like that. Or the corner issue as well. Say, for example, I've had them refuse to couple up on corners before, which I found really rather annoying. And I've had ones that will couple up, come uncoupled very quickly when they hit a straight, which again, quite annoying. Like as if they haven't locked properly. It doesn't want to sit quite all the way back on that side. Don't couple on corners at all, but I've designed my layout with that in mind. See, I see that as a downside to them personally. I understand why other people wouldn't. But for me, yes, no, I've had that issue. Really there, Stephen, on I think scale couplings on the inside fixed coaching stock grades, but I'm trying to figure out reliable rust auto coupling for my good stock. So, auto coupling wise, I have used Spratt and Winkles and AJ's and have found both to be reliable as long as, especially with AJ's, set up properly. And they are quite discreet. Apparently, free link caused buffer lock on tight corners, so I'm told start with the tension bar and DC as of yet. Yes, you can certainly have buffer lock issues with free links. Then none of my layouts have tight enough corners for that to be an issue. And then all of my stock is slowly getting fitted with sprung buffers as well, so they can actually compress each other rather than pushing each other out of the way. On corners, there we go. But there are ways round it. So do I have one? I do have one here, although not fitted. What some people do to prevent buffer lock or with free links, they will put a bit of rod along the back of the buffers like that. Obviously significantly thinner than this one. So then when the next carriage comes on and the buffers rub up, they can't actually get around each other to lock because the bit of rod is in the way. So obviously it's much more discreet than like that. I so far haven't had any issues like that on my layouts. I will probably work on something like that should I have that issue. Now, I've lost the chat. You're too far ahead of me. Fine. One train. Trying Spratt and Winkle lately for a club. Light tension lots for being a solid buffing surface, B, robust and compatible with out of the box stock, meaning it can be run with stock belonging to other club members. They are indeed both excellent arguments for tension locks. Quite unobtrusive, but they're not as good for carriages because they foul the bogies. Yeah, that can be an issue. I've not when I was playing Sprat and Winkles, it was on Wagons, I'll give you that. So, and smaller stocks, nothing with bogies, so I'll give you that. I'm not aware of that personally, but I can see why it could be an issue. Sorry, mate. Well, welcome, Benji. Don't be sorry for being late. How are you? I hope you are well. I really dislike tension lock couplings. They're very hard to uncouple manually. They're extremely obtrusive and they cause a gigantic gap between the vehicles. I mean, some of the modern stuff, if you look at the gap that is going to be on the Hatton's Genesis coaches and compare it to some pictures of early stock, they don't cause that big a gap. But yeah, they are quite obtrusive. And I've made an uncoupler for them for my son's layout because he uses tension locks, which is just a simple slips under, lifts them up, and they uncouple just fine. It took a bit of practice to get used to, but with that practice, it works really well. Works on all his stock with tension locks. Take my stock to friends' layouts. Tension locks do come in handy there. Yes, I can see that. I like to use short KDs for mild curves. Makes sense. Tension locks are hard to manually uncouple. That's fun to me. Don't necessarily cause huge gaps between vehicles. I just mind so that under compression there's a 0.51mm gap between the buffers. That's a good gap. Cool, it does look good. Free lanes, everything has its foibles. Best practice way to do, but it's what you're happy with, or even the size of the layout. Exactly. There is not a wrong way to do railway modelling. That is the important thing to remember, everyone. It doesn't matter how you do your modelling, you are right. I've never tried tension locks, so I can't talk. Well, you can discuss other forms of couplings. I know that I've configured KDs on the few double O gauge vehicles that I have fitted them so far to couple closely enough. Buffers touch on corners. Excellent. And sprung buffers are actually used. Fantastic, James. That is how they should be configured. I'm doing pretty good. I've made some money and ready to buy my third generic coach. Yourself? Excellent. I am glad to hear that. I have made money by working in a model shop. So there'll be lots of models being purchased in the near future. You can get tension bars and tangled hooks too. It's not always perfect. Guitar string would do for that buffer lock preventer. Neat fix there. I do believe guitar string is what a lot of people do use, yes. So I've not had to use it personally, so I can't comment on how well it works. But I do know other people use it and swear by it. Tension locks do have the plus point of being good at for replicating the motion of loose couple goods train for fixed rakes, carriages. I like the Roco type. The rake moves as a single unit. Yes, that is another good point about the tension locks and wagons there. I completely forgot about that. So modern small tension locks are not that obtrusive, and I think a lot of criticism of them stems from the older types. Yes, they're certainly a lot better than they were. As I say, the boy uses them and has no problem with them. I quite agree. It's your layout, that's what I say. Indeed, Benji, you are quite correct there. It is indeed your layout and you can do as you wish with it. There is no wrong way of modelling. Gosh, the old ones are even worse. New ones are at least easy to remove. The wrong way of doing modelling if it doesn't make one happy. Well, I suppose, yes. As long as you are happy with your modelling, there is no way of doing modelling wrong. Is that better, James? And GSO say that's the concept of rotary couplings with non-corridor long buffer pre-grouping carriages. The intercarriage couplings are very busy. Any breakaways with tension locks? I'm sure they have. I'd be very surprised if they didn't. The downside of tension locks is that they are designed for very tight curves. I mean, is that a downside though, really? Let's get that off there and clean it up in a minute. There we go, that is off. There's a lot of clean up to do on the brake handle here. So much flash, it could save the universe. No, used a bit of bronze wire, a bit of bronze wound electric guitar strings for repair on an 08 I have. It's one of my 4 videos so far. Excellent, I will have to check that out. I have lots of guitar string around, as that is one of my other hobbies. It's been a long while since I have actually done any though. But yes, I do enjoy some good guitaring. The better the function modelling is normally to make the modeler happy, so it fulfills that function, even if it doesn't make anyone else happy. Yes, your modelling does not have to please anyone else, ever. It is indeed just for you. It is to be fun. Had a few breakaways, it's probably down to my track work. Ah, there we go. So, they do indeed happen, as said. Harsh criticism of someone else's model makes little sense. You are quite correct there, James. One can definitely do it wrong if one doesn't feel one own goals. Fair enough. Constructive criticism, especially when solicited, can definitely be worthwhile. Indeed, and I do like a bit of constructive criticism to help improve my modelling personally. Advantage of brakes only on one side, you've got two chances with the brake lever. I was thinking that as I was cutting away the flash, Stephen. I'll pick up an I have, sorry. Yeah, I wondered if that's what it was that you had repaired with it. It's good to lose yourself in a guitar. It is indeed. I play guitar and keyboards myself, and one day I hope to have the time to sit down and compose all my own music for the channel and play it myself, but I think that's a long way off now that I've got 2 jobs and a YouTube channel to run. Talking of things pre-grouping, I'm surprised the updated Apple D-Class samples haven't been mentioned yet. That's a good point. How have they not been mentioned yet? Can't say I've had a huge chance to look at them. Perhaps we'd have finished one sentence before starting the next. That helps with what you're saying, Gary. Yeah, I haven't had a huge chance to look at them yet, but from what I've seen, they look quite good. The cab lining on the front of the SECR one still bugs me though. Perhaps we could have a guitar command when used, play some of your guitar music with 5-minute cooldown to prevent overuse. That's not a terrible idea, but I'd have to record some. You're a very big guitar to lose something. I'm going to prove compose your own music for your channel. Do this for my videos, but I don't play, so they're all MIDI. I mean, nothing wrong with that, really, if I'm being honest. So, that brake lever looks good to me. I can't quite put the right amount of tension on there to show you. So we are going to get that attached. The SR one still looks wrong. Better but wrong. I've heard some mention of lettering looking too large. Is that the SR Olive one? Or is that the black one? Apple often make mistakes with their liveries. Indeed they do, James. They've explained the SECR issue with the front of the cab, saying it's physically impossible. I do not believe that, but if that's what they want to go with, that's what they want to go with. Plan on getting A1X Terrier. Are they just as good? Terriers are the best. Always get Terriers. If you can get a Terrier, do so. It's your inspiration to get recording. I'd need a fair bit of practice to get before recording again. Something I like to aim for, but the plugin isn't that good these days. Practice, practice. Yeah, exactly. And this is the problem. I've got an absolutely beautiful 1968 Gibson Les Paul upstairs. It is an incredible instrument. I cannot do it justice currently. It's the file, that's what I was trying to pick up. Better wrong, better than worse wrong. Just a couple of, it bugs me where it still stops dead in full view. Exactly. I think it would look better even if they only brought it down as far as where the cab lining starts to go back in on the side of the cab. But that's them. D-Class looks nice, only they're cheap, so I could use them to bash into a Class 2 or 3. You should never bash a D into anything, they're wonderful. Terriers were successful locomotives, 2 different manufacturers making good models of them. The A1 Terrier, the Hornby mate, Yeah, they say both models are good from what I understand. No idea, shade roll looks along to me. Fair enough. Letter on SCR Grey D class tender looks off somehow. Fair enough. Karen is very, very fond of terriers. Indeed, I am. Tender lettering looks too large on the olive one. Also heard mention sunshine lettering and wrong facing crest on the BR. Oh yes, the wrong facing crest on the BR tenders. I forgot about it. That's something even I know to get right. Both Formula Nap models are good. Indeed, they are good. Have a look at Jennifer Clark's detailed reviews. Both were piece of art. Les Paul Gibson, nice one. Yes, absolutely beautiful thing. I got it quite a few years ago when I was performing at the time, so it was worth the investment. Quite when it's been a good few years since I have played it though. It actually, before I turned this room into my recording studio, it actually spent a few years living in here in its box, not getting touched, where I couldn't even get to it. So Genesis possible Rouse Terry links to Rouse, but that's not story. That's actually first generic review. I don't like any reviews from big YouTubers personally. Big YouTubers, you know what I mean. Anyone who's getting supplied models, I do not like their reviews of things. That's a personal thing for me. But a review from anyone is better than no review. The same extends to everything else in my life, I should point out. It's not just model railway YouTubers, it's everything. If there's any chance someone is receiving something in return in real life, I'm not a fan of it. Personally. That's just me. But at the same time, I'm only going to watch reviews of things that I'm interested in. So a lot of reviews, I don't even see them, so I can't really comment too much. If it's a good starting point, it's very thorough and it's useful to have multiple sources of information to deal with possible problems. Indeed, James, as I was saying, any review is better than no review. Will you ever make running session videos? Yes, once I've got a layout that I'm happy with the running on completely and the time to record it. The real issue with the DAPL versions I've seen so far is the Umber version is virtually unrenumberable. I did not know that. There are other issues with the DAPL one I don't like that are caused by it being scaled down from the 7mm version. But, yeah. That's a DAPL problem. So if you are using an adhesive rather than solvent, yes, I was going to get some solvent from the shop on Friday, but we didn't have any. Should point out the shop has not been restocked in well over a year, so we sold out. Never watch read reviews for anything. That makes sense, Alex. So I'll say nothing if I can't say something. Don't say anything. Does Oak Hill Mark 1 still live? So, yes, Oak Hill Mark 1 still lives. However, the plasterers did come out and do their initial review on Thursday morning. So for those that don't know, my primary layout, Oak Hill, the one that this channel is named after, is going to die once I have some plaster shoved on the walls in my living room. That's where the layout is. So, yeah, the plasterers came round and did their initial assessment, looked at everything that needs doing for what I want doing, and I am not looking forward to paying for it all. With everything I'm having done, it's going to be 3 days work from the plasterers. So that's going to be fun. They are arranging with an asbestos removal company to get some asbestos removed before they start. So all 3 of those days, like the first day will be asbestos removal, the next 2 days will be the plastering. As soon as they've got a date that both companies are available for doing that in one go, it will be coming and Oak Hill will be no more. There's a lot of plastering and I disapprove of asbestos. Indeed. So, yeah. Oak Hill's days are very much numbered. However, it will be reborn as a new layout, which has already had some planning happen some time ago on RM Web, when I was first looking at getting the work done and I knew the layout was going to need to go. So we've got a track plan that I am quite happy with. I've had some play with setting up scenes from the new layout in the past and have been very happy with them. I cannot wait to get the new one built. I really want to be a modeller, but my hands always shake. So there are ways of dealing with shaky hands. Asbestos removal, not easy. Are you going to decant to another house or hotel while the asbestos is removed? So it is my ceilings that are being taken down to get rid of asbestos because they are absolutely full of it, and a couple of them are damaged. In theory, they reckon they can do all the ceilings that need to come down in one day, so I shouldn't need to leave for more time than that. Quite how well that goes will be another issue. So in theory, no, I am not having to go elsewhere, but I will have stuff arranged just in case. But yes, so Benji, shaky hands. My hands do shake quite a bit, obviously not like this, but when you are modelling, if you can touch your fingers together, your hands will shake together. If they are doing that, then the shaking is 0, essentially, compared to the model. So I'm holding the model, I'm touching my hands together, everything is shaking in sync, so there is no shaking. So for example, painting, I'm going to use a different brush because I know that it's definitely got nothing on it then. If I can do just touching my little fingers together as I'm painting, then the brush is shaking the same as the model, and there is therefore no shaking, as an example. There are methods to deal with shaking. Will you be taking the new layout to exhibitions? So I have a different layout for exhibitions. For those that don't know, I have 7 layouts. So yeah, there are other exhibition layouts. My big exhibition layout is, quite ironically, since we're building George Giles of Hailsham and Heathfield for Matt this evening, one of my exhibition layouts is Hailsham Station in 1912. So yes, there are other layouts to do exhibitions. Is it just me? Oh, I just got here. No, you're not even the only new face this evening. So do not worry about that. Pumpkin time over here, so I've work tomorrow. Good night all. Stay positive. Stay positive, but stay negative. That's good. I like that one, Paderborn. Good night. Thank you for coming. Fantastic to have you here as always. I look forward to seeing you again. Everything about that reducing shaking. It's a good trick, isn't it? I learnt it. God, I think at club a few years ago. Sorry, I hope you're well. Sounds like number 8 is on the way. Good evening, Andy. How are you? I hope you are well. Good to see you. I am very well. 7 layers, which one is above his head, possibly 2 in fact. Yes, 2 of them are above my head, Linny. So I've work tomorrow. Good luck with the rest tonight. Good night. Okay, good night, Matt. I hope you come back and watch the last hour so that you see what I do with your wagons. When you stop streaming, we've got another hour to go, Benji. So it is currently 11 o'clock where I am. We finish at 12. So yes, as Linny points out, if I pull my camera back and we look above the microphone, we see some shelf brackets there. Above those shelf brackets is a box. That box is South Park Quarry, my Inglenook layout that is mentioned down here. This is the track plan of that layout. And then you can see on top of that is Bright Helmstone Locomotive Works, which is my photoplank layout. They live above my head. There is my 009 layout, which is on the channel in quite a few videos. That's probably my most videoed layout, actually, the Nutley Crowborough and Groombridge Light Railway. That is under my stairs, and you'll see that from the videos if you check them out. There is Oak Hill itself, of course, which is in my living room. There's a 12-foot long alcove in my living room, so Oak Hill is in there. Then Oak Hill has Hailsham living stored in boxed up underneath it, along with the Midland layout, which of course is going to be built on a 24-hour live stream that we are going to do. And then upstairs in my son's room is Birch Hill. So that is all the layout. That is all 7, isn't it? I think that's all 7. Bad when you lose track of your own layouts, isn't it? There's the painter's adorable support idea. Close to my hands are supported to the wrist. Steady in my hands. Yes, indeed. See you later, Ben, by the way. Indeed, yes. I do remember you saying last time. See you later, Ben. So, night. Catch you next time. Good night, Paul. Thank you for coming by. Hello, Hayden O'Brien. Welcome. There is no such thing as late unless you are turning up as I finish. Welcome. How are you? I hope you are well. I thought I was bad. I thought that I was bad planning to have 4. Never. There's always someone worse than you, James, and it's usually me. How do you were into the Midland as well, chap? Indeed. So my Midland layout is being built as a charity thing. So we will end up with raising some money for charity by building a layout. And who can say that that is a bad thing? So I've collected a decent amount of stock for it. I've got quite a few locos now. Got quite a few kits to build for it. So when, obviously it would have been done by now if it wasn't for Corona. But when the time comes, we will be doing a few of the Sunday night live streams will be dedicated to Midland projects. And then there will be a special 24-hour long live stream to build the layout. I'm going to have everything ready, everything as planned out as I can, with the aim of genuinely building the layout in one single 24-hour long session. And I will be hoping to raise lots of money during that single 24-hour long session. That's not going in there. Right. Where's the... HCMR really won't admit it. Not a chance, Alex. Not a chance. Photo put up on Discord, Jane Pets, so intention lots can look not awful in terms of buffer spacing. Excellent. I'm glad of things not awful. Sounds fantastic. Look forward to that. I'm hoping to knock out some Midland Clistery 4-wheeler, 6-wheeler coaches soon. Ah, excellent. Excellent indeed. I very much approve of Midland coaching stock. If you fancy making a donation to a charity for them, so it will be a mental health charity we'll be supporting. Decided long ago. I actually, not only do I know which charity, but the charity know about me and what I'm planning on doing, and they're fully supportive. Admittedly, they weren't originally, because they were like, oh, won't that be bad for your mental health doing 24 hours live like that? To which I said, now I love it. Also, that's not what it's about. It'll be very good for my mental health, raising some money for mental health. And they got on board with the idea then. So they are aware it's a thing that will happen. They are aware of why it hasn't happened yet. I'm going to put this aside a second because these are ready for black iron work. We want a smaller brush. No, you're not smaller. Well, you are, but you're not smaller enough. You're the one we want. Very impressive for tension locks. I am going to look forward to seeing this picture at some point. Raising money for mental health is always a good cause. It is, isn't it, Rob? Do you know yet when the 24-hour model-a-thon is happening? I do not. Unfortunately, I do not have the track for it, and the company, POW, that makes the track, are not currently producing, or have spent a long time not producing track because they've been making face shields and stuff instead. So, yes, it's partially reliant on them because it is pretty much just the track I need these days. So as soon as I can get everything sourced to do it, it will be getting ready and happening. Sounds like quite a bash, 24-hour loud build. All the best of it, as long as it's not a regular thing. 24-hour stint should be alright. I'll keep my ear to the rail on that, Gary. Thank you. Yes, indeed, it will not be a regular thing. I like the idea of raising money for charity with it the once. Maybe it could be an annual thing if it goes well. I certainly would not want to do it any more than that. As I say, it's a mental health charity, and they were very much, are you sure about this? But I think as a one-off it will be fun. We'll be using bullhead. That is the plan, yes. The plan is certainly to use bullhead. Which of course really does delay things because POW haven't even finished introducing the range yet, and they are behind with that because of everything that's gone on in the world in the last year or so. There we go, we have the beginnings of black ironwork. So I'm waiting for that stuff before I can start on any of my 00 layouts. I haven't released their slips and crossings in that yet. Exactly. So, we've managed to make it to 10 past 11 without me asking the most important question of the evening. And that is, of course, what is everyone else up to? I do like to hear about any projects you have on the go. Or any games you are playing, and just generally what you are up to whilst you have me making noise in your ear. Very neat, thank you, Stephen. That is a combination of a very nice brush and my technique for preventing the shaking earlier. Not even had to put my glasses on yet. Oh, and of course putting very little paint on here. Dribs and drabs of old stock coming out. Grab a Hornby Christmas stock kit for third race track while we're getting tracking. Also got one for my birthday. Ah, that's a clever idea. I had not thought about that. Although being I now work in a model shop, I should hopefully be able to order myself stuff in and keep it aside much easier. Thanks to your new job, you should have some inside knowledge on the restock. Exactly, and thank you, Andy. It is great to be doing it. As it's only a part-time thing, purely to stop me going insane from the lack of work I've been doing on my real job, and B, make sure the shop doesn't have to close. Because it was only going to be able to open 2 days a week, it is now able to open 5 days a week because I'm there. Currently contemplating convert all my Graham Farage Mark 2Fs to Mark 2Es. Ah, interesting. Building that LBSC ballast brake. Ah, excellent, Rob. Excellent. I look forward to seeing some of that. Fantastic. Dear, I'm late for an important date. How are you, Javier? I hope you are well. Taking a Centro 159 and stopping along West Coast Main Line, Trent Valley. Very nice. Not much. Plenty of modelling to do. Somehow not doing it. Well, we all have days like that, Stephen. Saying very naughty words, having just realised that the buffer I spent over an hour modelling is in fact the wrong sort for the vehicle in question. Ouch. Ouch. I was wiring the DC gauge master controller today, fiddly, but stopped to eat, etc. I approve of gauge master controllers very much. I need to get used to the Prodigy at some point, 'cause it's what we have for testing stock in the shop. And it's been a long time since I've used one, because I'm personally a lens user, although I would like to change for an NCE at some point. Just finished weathering the crates I glued in earlier on my Open A. Aha, excellent. They did look good once they were in. Remember everyone, hydration is important. If I was making windows for a postal carriage, haha. Oh, I look forward to seeing some pictures on Discord, Andy. How's working in the model shop going? Very well. I mean, I've only done a total of 6 hours so far, but they have been 6 very good hours. I am not in tomorrow, but I am back in on Tuesday, and I am already looking forward to it. NCE, are you sure? Yes, I like my N. I have used the power cap several times and have found it a very good controller. Please do tell me why you would wonder if I'm sure, James. What model shop is that, if I could ask? So it is Train Times Model Shop in Eastbourne, also known as the Eastbourne Model Hobbies and Collectors Centre. something along those lines. It's been a long time since I've used its full name. I was afraid to ask the question, but CJ. Cat's come in so I can go to bed. Night all. Good night, Stephen. Great to have you here. And I look forward to the next stream I can entice you into. Why do you think it preferable to lens? I've just found myself preferring to use it over my lens equipment. I have a few friends with NCE systems, so I have spent a lot of time operating their layouts with their NCEs, and I find the operating, the usage of functions, and the programming to all be better for me personally on the NCE than the lens. Do you have much O gauge in stock at the model shop? We do not have much in anything at the moment, if I'm completely honest. There are a few very nice O gauge things, but I don't think any of them are actually for sale at the moment. We stock a lot of stuff for scratch builders and kit builders and bashers and stuff, which is nice. I can go down there and get all my plasticard and all my brass and everything. It's all just there. So many brands of paint. Well, I say so many. 3 brands, but it's decent ranges of all of them. And there we are, black ironwork, which I like to think has gone very, very well. There's a chap in the club who knows much about these things and recommends against them. Can't remember the detail how. Problems clearly being somewhat inflexible in operation in terms of moving handsets from one system to another. Interesting. I would certainly be interested in hearing more, James. I would definitely, if you could find more details and let us know on Discord, I would be very interested in hearing about them. Considering how popular NCEG and Prod G systems are, I would say, I suppose the issues are not bad enough to put most people off. I agree. Should not the buffers also be black, being iron? You're probably right, Linny. Yes. Quick work on the ironwork, Gary. Thank you, Andy. This is what I get for doing double O rather than O gauge. You see, you have to paint everything 4 times as much. Have to ask the chap on Facebook. Oh, that would be very interesting to hear, James. Well, excuse me, it's my time to go now. Things to be. Thanks for having me in. I hope drop in again. See live streams being suggested often. Okay, thank you for popping in. It has been great to have you here. It's been very nice chatting. I certainly do hope you pop in again in the future. Good night, sleep well, and I hope to see you again soon. I shall be watching the Monday Club tomorrow as usual. Although I won't be talking. You too, sir. Good night. Good night. Keep an eye open. Take care. And take care of yourself. Stay safe. So yes, there we go, Linny. Buffers are black. Don't say that. I say it occasionally. I suppose I should have done the coupling plate as well. I actually didn't look at that as I was painting and think, oh, I need to do that. So yeah, best do that. And the coupling hook plate too. So see, I'm not completely oblivious. I said that before it appeared on my screen. There we go. That one's done now. Now I can get on with the other one. So I think we should definitely be doing more wagons next week by the looks of it. Because there's no way we're getting these all finished. And then we'll have to get on to our next project, which is sat next to me in 2 boxes, waiting very patiently. Painting wagons is super therapeutic, I find. It takes too much concentration, that's the problem with it. But yes, it can certainly be therapeutic, and it's very satisfying, especially when you get it looking neat. So if you get it looking neat, it's very, very nice, and the feeling you get after putting it down is great. You know, like these ones, I've got a pair of these, and there was a lot of hard work in the painting of those. You will notice they are the lettering on them is hand painted, but I didn't actually do that. But it is absolutely fantastic, and if I could produce something like that, I would be very, very happy. That's the goal. But all the rest of the painting on that I did myself. Done any coach lining with bowspring pen at all? So I have a bow pen, and I have done coach lining before, but never have the two met. I need a lot more practice with my bow pen still. but I have every intention that I will get very, very good at it and will be able to line everything by hand one day. And yes, I do include Mr. Stroudley's locos in that. One day. If you'd like to see a bow pen live stream, there will certainly be one in the future. Are you going to weather the wagons? I am not, because they are not mine. So these wagons will return to Matt, who owns them. Pristine for him to do as he likes with. Can you recommend a bow pen? I cannot remember the brand name, so unfortunately I cannot. The gentleman that owns Golden Arrow models is very good with bow pens and could certainly recommend stuff much better than I could. For those who don't remember, we did what his D3 kit, resin kit. He occasionally sells very nice bow pens through his eBay account. Yeah, he's very good with bow pens. Quite often does work to them, hones them and stuff himself for people. And he really does know what he's talking about with them. He can make cheap bow pens be good. Which I think is quite a skill. Me too. See that live stream. One day that live stream will come. We've not had one so far. Fair enough. I may have bought one of his bow pens I've yet to try using. Fair enough. So he's very, very good with bow pens. Cheers, look out for those. Want to get one, start practicing. Yes, I used to practice with my bow pen over my old workbench. Back before it got its refurb and got repainted. God, imagine going back and telling me, as I was doing all the work to get that painted and all those live streams where the paint was still a bit wet, that I would soon have this done. I'd never have bothered. That workbench is now sat folded away in my modelling supply cupboard. And the only thing it's been touched for since going in there is to move it out of the way so I can get stuff out of it. Should have done it in move. No, James. You're not getting a mauve workbench. Well, you can get one, but you're not getting one from me. We have discussed my reasons for a white workbench many a time. And I'd like to think the practicalities of it outweigh the need for mauve. There we go, that is the ironwork done. And I can adjust my eyes to see again. Gee, workbench. It's been joked about not happening. Cunning plan to infiltrate model accounts on as many railway layouts as possible. That's a good plan. I like that plan, James. Mainly club, but anywhere else where I can get away with it. Well, there will be two of my layouts will get them, thanks to you. Properly in scale counts and realistic poses and situations, of course. Of course. We've been able to see again. It is handy. Camouflage arching workbench. There's the engine. G workbench NSE van. No. Perhaps I should send Gary more cats. You are welcome to send me more cats if you want. So whilst we joke about an IEG workbench, that's not happening. However, if we look back over to the spray booth, you will notice that A, I've got some filler on over the holes in it now, which I didn't have the last time it was on camera. But B, we have a nice worktop surface sticking out and a flat side underneath it. Now, my kitchen cabinets on the other side of that door are mahogany. Specifically, a Honduran mahogany as used by the LBSC. So I think that is going to get painted mahogany. That, sticking out the top as a worktop, will have to go white because, of course, that's the colour that worktops are in the recording studio. So I'm thinking I might do some panelling on there and line it out and have lined mahogany carriage livery on the spray booth section. Because why not? Sounds like the bow pen is coming out. That will probably be big enough that I'll do it with a brush, to be honest. Workbench painting live stream. I don't know that I'll do it live. But yeah, I think that would look nice done up in Brighton carriage livery. I don't know what Brighton I would put on it. But yeah, all my cabinets, are this colour. So it would seem silly to have the one in here different, because it can very much be seen from the kitchen. Craig's looking très bien. Well, I've not done anything to the carriages since last week, Javier. Wagons this week, and they're not even mine. This end wants this across the top of it, so we must do that. Obviously need to come off this bit of sprue first. And then I believe that is the build of this one done, and we can put some black paint on the sole bars. And underframe details. But yes, I'm very happy with the carriage rakes. Appreciate it, of course. Just making sure you knew that I hadn't actually done anything to it since last week. I'm hoping to get that video done soon, which will be this first class carriage here and the luggage brake shall feature in. So hopefully that will come out soon and the rake will look a lot more complete. I don't want to do any more to them until I'm filming that video. Because it seems like if I start doing stuff to them, I might get carried away and do the whole rake and then not have anything for the video. But yeah, if someone told me we were getting ready to run Strauchlers, I'd have never believed them. Needs to buy more of them though. I mean, yes, but at the same time, I have close to, I don't know, with these, I now have 30 four-wheelers of various types. 30 Brighton four-wheelers. That's not including my South Eastern and Chatham ones. Of various types. And being that the main layout I need to build stock up for is set in 1912, I really don't need any more four-wheelers. And there we go, that is on. So yes, whilst there would be an excuse to buy more and claim it as a business expense, not that I would ever do that with my railway modelling, I genuinely don't. The need isn't there for them. It's very free rolling wagon, this. I've just realised I've not put the coupling hooks on it. Let's get the dummy hooks on it. Always best to keep the eyes on the goal and not just buy things because you can. I speak from bitter experience. Yes. Although I will admit getting these carriages in the first place is very much one of those times where I didn't do that. Because I didn't need them. I did not need any more four-wheelers. Especially not four-wheelers of a different make to the ones I already had. so that they look different and don't easily integrate with the other ones I already had. Understandable, but it's nice to at least have some of them. You just don't need more on top of them. Yes, but as you can see where I'm coming from with the. I didn't need them. I've got plenty of four-wheelers without them. I'm actually genuinely tempted to use my K's four-wheelers for other purposes. Just because I can, I've got so many. Oh, I've not removed the V-hanger on this side yet. Which, as I said earlier, if I'd have done that before putting the brakes on, I'd have stuck the brakes on the wrong side. And that would have been very silly. Yeah, so there might be some streams coming up in the future where we take some K's four-wheelers that we have previously built on the live stream, I should point out, and cannibalise them for nefarious purposes. Don't try and make me pronounce words at this time of night. You should know that that's not going to happen by now. Need more bogey carriers than four-wheelers in 1912, I imagine. Exactly, James. Even my short Hailsham to Eastbourne rake will be bogey carriages by that period. Oh, talking of carriages of the bogey variety, the HMRS should have the Brighton Carriages Volume 4 on their website for purchase tomorrow. Delivery might be a bit iffy with it and take a while, but it should be there to order tomorrow. Turning white metal trailers and bow carriages will result in some rather heavy carriages, I think. But if I'm only using as many as I would use in a rake of four-wheelers, it's not going to make the rake any heavier. And in fact, it would in theory make it lighter because I'm using less ends. And if I then don't actually use the full carriages and cut some compartments out, then it gets even lighter. And you see where I'm going with this. Nefarious purposes are interesting purposes. They are indeed, James. Cannibalise them means you get more use out of them, then so be it. When you built them, you could not have known RTR ones would come out. Well, no, that is true. Someone remind me in Discord. I will try. But then you're adding bogies and underframe details. Yes, but I'm not necessarily adding those out of white metal. And I'm losing some white metal from the underframes. Yeah, I will try to remember to remind you tomorrow, James, but I'm not sure that I will. So hopefully someone else will remind you, or if not, someone will remind me to remind you. So yes, I would like to do something with them. And I'm not going to say I'm not concerned about the weight issue, as Lynn is pointing out, because I am. There we go, got that paint off my finger now. But if I have fun converting them and then can't use them, I have at least had fun converting them. Can't even remember what was being discussed, to be honest. I'm no use for reminding. That the HMRS will have LBSCR carriages Volume 4 on their website for ordering tomorrow. I ordered it from the bookshop that Hudson's Book, that's it, that Lady Alex provided the link to on Discord the other day. So I'm hoping my copy does not take too long to arrive. I shall then most likely end up handing it over to my mum and saying, here you go, wrap this up and you can give me this for my birthday. That is what I did with Volume 3. Someone remind me to remind Linny to remind Darren to remind me about the HMRS tomorrow. I blame the fact that Daphne's made sure everyone know, because I made a few. I'm sure they will not be the last. It was fun to make them. Jane said to remind me as well. Missed that completely. Well, that happens, Alex. That happens. Although, that is a good point, Andy. I'd not thought about that. All this time we spend bashing Hornby for duplicating models. And we never even thought about the fact that Dapol are making Stroudleys in O-gauge, and all the talk of the possibility of Dapol downsizing them to 00. Hornby might like to say they've done it to coincide, to go with their Terrier, but they've had a Terrier in their range for long enough and not done them before now. How much can we bash Hornby? Do they deserve it? Probably. Yes, I do believe there's going to be delay in dispatch from the HMRS for the book, because they actually still can't get to the HMRS offices at Butterley. But being able to order it at least means you will have a copy and it will be coming at some point. When I hear things like HMRS or books being mentioned, my brain seems to switch off for some reason. Okay, Alex, so can you remind me to remind everyone about the thing that switched your brain off, but also remember what it was that switched your brain off? No? Ah, shame. Totally expecting that to be a yes. Don't dash call me too much. I make some nice stuff. Looking forward to their new Southern carriages this year. Fair enough. But I enjoy bashing Hornby. They're an easy target. It's what they get for being so successful, I guess. Oh, and also for letting Simon Kohler sit at the top. What? Who said that? I don't know. It wasn't me. Can you repeat the question? No, definitely not, Alex. Something about you reminding me of the thing that switched your brain off, but you also remembering what switched your brain off? I genuinely cannot remember how I worded it, but it was a joke question that I didn't expect a yes to. That's the important thing to remember. I'm going to make sure we paint the back of these brakes. Because of course you can see them under the wagon from this side. There we go. Perhaps Andrew could remind Linny to remind Alex, to remind me, to remind Gary, to remind Alex, to remind Linny, to remind me, to remind Gary, to remind me, to tell everyone, to remind everyone about the book. Good idea, James. I've gone off Hornby since I watched James May's programme on the railways. I think that programme had that effect on a lot of people, actually, Rob. But the problem is, I know from inside sources that Simon Kohler very much is as nasty a human as that programme made out, and that wasn't play acting. There's not enough paint on here to do that. I should have thought about doing that before I closed it. I will of course not be revealing who my sources are. But some of the things I've heard said I would not want to work under someone like that, and I do believe there is a decent sized portion of the Hornby staff who feel the same. Seek their holiday and their attitude and their legions of die-hard fans who will defend them to death just because of the name and nostalgia. So again, that attitude seems to more be Simon Kohler's attitude, from what I understand. A change at the top would not be a bad thing for Hornby. Wagon is looking good. Thank you, James. I went off Hornby when I worked in the retail sector with Hobby, and it still makes me so mad people still blame Rouse Chef off the split, not Terry, the retail split. Yes, indeed. Of course, Hornby have not done the retail sector many favours over the years. I forgot to do the bits around the buffers, but I don't want to do them with this brush anyway. I want to do them with the smaller brush. I do know of model shops that only deal with Hornby because Hornby. How can you run a model shop without them, sort of thing? I discovered something you'll probably enjoy, Alex, regarding your former employer, in fact. As I noticed, your former employer seems to have got into the business of commissioning items of rolling stock. I don't know if they did that when you worked there. But I understand they are currently having to replace every single one of their latest release because they did it wrong. I would imagine that is costing someone a fair amount of money. So what Cola did to Rails and Hattons on the Terriers and Classics, I think, was horrendous. Yes, and people seem to forget about the 66 when I mention that they've done it multiple times. And the 14XX, when DJM bought out their 14XX, Hornby re-released their 14XX for £35 just to hurt the sales of the DJM one. Since I talked to Andrew later, I can write this right. Shop had already done snowplows before I started. I was working on sound wagons whilst there. Genuinely surprised they've had issues because it was a real passion project. Yeah, apparently they did them very, very wrong and they're having to replace them all. So now someone's trying to have Javier. I told Javier to do all of this. So I remember that, and they killed DJ King's. DJ's King, I believe it was. Maybe. But yeah, they play dirty. And I am not a fan of companies that play dirty. Check out the RM web thread about it then. Yeah, I'm not sure who it is that is footing the bill for this one. But there's been some cock up with it and they're having to replace all of them. Either way, I thought you'd enjoy that fact. There is the remember to smash that like button coming back, which means we are of course right at the very end of the live stream now. It is in fact 1 minute to midnight where I am. I'd be lying if I said it didn't make me somewhat happy. I thought so. And as we approach the midnight, 30 seconds away apparently, I'll remind you all, hydration is important. And there is only 10 seconds left till midnight. So, what have we done tonight? We have finished off an already started wagon. And we have painted the sides for 2 others ready to receive their transfers. So, of course, we will be doing some more wagoning next weekend. These are a commissioned project and I want to get them done nice and promptly. We have another commissioned project ready to go after these. And I am collecting stuff up for the next one of my own personal projects we're going to be doing. You should work out what it is if you're on the Discord. It shouldn't be too hard. So yeah, I've had a great time. I've enjoyed building these wagons. I've enjoyed chatting. I think we've had a really good chat this evening. It's been absolutely great. We've had some new faces. Always great to see. And so we have indeed reached the end. I hope you have enjoyed. I certainly have. I hope you'll be back next week when we do some more wagoning. And until then, all that's left for me to say is I've been Gary. This has been Let's Build. You've been awesome as always. Thanks for watching and good night.